With players trying to get away from gear sets and exotics and the meta in the DZ, there's been an increase in the popularity of Rogue 29. So with the Rogue 29-like option being the only solution, if the current DZ issues pop up in the Division 2, that's next. Hey, it's DeadSockPuppet here, bringing you another Division video. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're new, thank you for the view. Make sure to click the DSP logo below to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on new content. Also, let me know in the comments below if there's any topics you'd like me to cover. Now let's jump into Rogue 29, exotics, gear sets, and the DZ meta. While Rogue 29 isn't a new idea, there's been a resurgence of players turning to it. The goal is to create a more pure DZ PvP environment, an environment like we saw in the Division prior to Update 1.1 and gear sets. Here's the gist of what Rogue 29 is. Player starts a new character, the character is played to level 29, player unlocks the skills that they plan to use via opening the necessary portions of the boo. The character is then equipped with some combination of high-end / gold gear and superior / purple gear, and then the character is taken into the DZ for PvP. Well, this really isn't difficult to do, it's a little time consuming and it's not exactly how the game was intended to be played. So currently there's no alternative to the Rogue 29 aside from playing the DZ in its current state with its gear sets, exotics, and current meta of Preda and Nomad. While I do have a suggestion to offer, it would most likely be for the Division 2 since we probably won't see any changes to the DZ in Division 1. However, the DZ issues addressed by Rogue 29 will still need to be resolved in Division 2 if there's still the potential for similar concerns. One way this could happen is by separating PvE and PvP, as I discussed in one of my previous videos, but if that doesn't happen, what alternative could there be that would be similar to Rogue 29 but built into the game? My suggestion? A high-end gear cap toggle. Probably not the first to mention this, but I haven't seen it recently, so I figure it's worth discussing. That being said, if you do know a past video covering this, please leave a link in the comments below for me to check out. So what do I mean by a high-end toggle? How would it work and when could it be applied? Basically it'd be the same idea as Rogue 29, where players wouldn't be able to use exotics or geared sets. The toggle would become available when a character reaches whatever the level cap is, be it 30 or whatever new level. It could be toggled on and off only at DZ checkpoints and not at safe houses, as the DZ instances would need to be changed when this happens. It could be added to the LZ, which would allow players to play it in a new way, and if that was the case, it could be available from the map and be similar to how world tier changes are made. So a concern with this system is how would loot be handled. If the players have the toggle on and can't use gear sets, should they be able to get them from drops? My thoughts are that loot should always drop as though the toggle is off, or as though the character could be able to use exotics and gear sets. While the player could be rewarded with all available loot, they would still need to toggle off to equip those items. Handling loot this way would keep from penalizing players because they wanted to utilize the toggle. They still may want to be able to use the exotics and gear sets for when they run PvP content. I can see an argument on the other side that if you want high-end gear you have to work harder for it, but doing that could be a deterrent to all but hardcore players and it should be avoided to keep from ostracizing non-hardcore players. So what are the benefits of a system like this? So basically a high-end toggle cap would allow players to play like they do in Rogue 29, but they wouldn't have to keep worrying about their character hitting the cap and being flipped into the meta. Also, players would have only one character but still be able to enjoy both experiences. So ultimately this would be better for player retention as players could avoid getting jaded by issues currently plaguing the DZ. So is this something that's going to be needed in the Division 2? If there's no DZ, this becomes a moot point, but I don't think that'll be the case. If you check out one of my previous videos, I noted why the Division 2 needs a DZ. If you haven't seen that video yet, I suggest giving it a watch. You can click the card above or hit the link in the description below. Also, as I mentioned earlier in this video, the concern only remains if the Division 2 has endgame equipment, namely exotics and gear sets. Assuming that the Division 2 has a DZ and endgame equipment, there really needs to be some alternative to the current solution. Some players have shown that they really enjoy the pure DZ PvP and would welcome an easier way to implement Rogue 29. Personally, I think a toggle that caps gear at high ends would be a viable solution that they could use. While I wouldn't have issues with being allowed in the LZ, it should definitely be considered as an option for the DZ in Division 2. Thanks again for watching. What do you think of a high-end toggle for the Division 2? Is it something that would work? If it's used, should it be available in LZ 2? Is there something else that Massive could implement that would be like Rogue 29? Or should the DZ in the Division 2 be the same as it currently is in the Division 1? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Finally, if you haven't already, click the DSP logo below to subscribe. Ring the bell to get notifications when I post new content, and remember to comment below if there's a topic you'd like me to cover.